Greetings! Mantare79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alrighty, let's begin. Pressing the A button now.
Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days.
Loading game and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu, going to edit deck menu. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a Stoicheia's Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom, D-BT09. And okie dokie, let's get started. Pressing the A button, entering edit deck, and off we go. And here we are in the edit deck menu. Like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building into this deck profile video is a Stoicheia's Blue Storm Dragon Maelstrom deck, made up of cards only available up until D-BT09. And alright, let's get started. Go into filter settings and to pack, show only cards from D-BT1, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT2, Brush with the Legends, D-BT3, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT4, Awakening of Chakrabarti, D-BT5, Triumphant Return of Brave Heroes, Festival Collection 2021, Festival Collection 2022, Promo Pack number 1, D-BT6, Blazing Dragon Reborn, D-BT7, Raging Flame Against Emerald Storm, D-BT8, Minerva Rising, and D-BT9, Dragon Tree Invasion. Apply filter, filters apply, let's get started. First up, the Grade 3 lineup. And now for the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck, Grade 3, Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom. Skills, first skill, action as a Vanguard, once per turn. Cost, discard a card from hand. If the cost is paid, choose a unit card with only Aqua Force for its clan or a tier dragon from Soul, call it a rear guard, and it gets skill auto as a rear guard when this unit attacks. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, and if it is the first battle of the turn, cost, counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, stand this unit until end of turn. At the end of the turn, put into your Soul. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if it is the 4th battle of this turn or more, draw a card. And choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So for Maelstrom, it's the main grade 3 to ride in this deck. Its skill is the first skill. By paying the cost, you can then superior call either an Aqua Force card or a tier dragon race card from your Soul to the rear guard. And the called card gets a skill. When the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can restand it for another attack. Then at the end of the turn, it returns to your Soul. And the second skill, when the conditions of the second skill are met, you can not only draw more cards to restock your hand with, but you can also wipe out your opponent's rear guards, giving you a better advantage. Alrighty, the Grade 3, Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom. We have 4 in the deck, 1 in the right deck, 3 in the main deck. Up next, the Grade 3, Blue Artillery Dragon, Inlet Pulse Dragon. Skills, first skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If it is the first battle of this turn, and your Vanguard is Flagship Dragon, Flag for Dragon, cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, stand this unit. Second skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of your turn, if the total number of attacks this turn is 4 or more, cost, put this unit into your Soul. If the cost is paid, draw a card. So for Inlet Pulse Dragon, a pretty good card to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks if it skills the first skill. Since this first skill is mainly meant to be used with the Flagport Dragon, we're just skipping ahead to the second skill. The second skill, when the conditions of the second skill are met, not only do you get to build up your Soul for later Soul Blast, but you can also redraw more cards to restock your hand with. And okie dokie, the Grade 3, Blue Artillery Dragon, Inlet Pulse Dragon. We have 4 in the deck. And next, the Grade 3, Normal Set Order, Blue Storm Armada, Storm of Judgment. Skills for skill order. After a set order is played, put into your order zone. Play this if you have a Vanguard Wellstrut in its card name. Second skill, auto. When this card is put into the order zone, activate all of the effects below. First effect, choose up to 1 unit card with only Aqua Force for its clan or a tier dragon from your drop and call it a rear guard. Second effect, choose one of your other rear guards. It gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn for each other Storm of Judgment in your order zone. So for Storm of Judgment, it's an order card meant to be played with the Maelstrom deck. With its skills, the second skill, when deployed to the order zone, you can choose to activate all of the effects available this order provides. You can not only superior call a Aqua Force or tier dragon from your drop zone to the rear guard to serve as a potential front row attacker, bat row booster, or a rear guard whose skill you wish to take advantage of later in the game, but also you can give that called rear guard or any other rear guard in your field a huge boost of power depending on how many Storm of Judgments you stack in your order zone. And affirmative, the Grade 3 set order, Storm of Judgment, we have 3 in the deck. And next, the grade 3, normal order, Gradia Gradel. Skills, first skill, continuous, Regulus piece. You may only have one Regulus piece in your deck and use it a total of 1 time in a fight. Second skill, order. Place if you have a grade 3 Vanguard of Persona Ride, and if you do not ride this turn, activate Persona Ride, draw a card. All of your front row units gets plus 10,000 power this turn, and you are regarded as Persona Road. So for Gradia Gradel, a pretty good order card to play in any deck in the D standard format. If it's skill, the second skill. When the conditions of the second skill are met, you play this card. You can activate the Persona Ride effect, which is to draw more cards to restock your hand with. Give your front row, Vanguard and rear guard included, a huge boost of power. And then any skills that require you to have Persona Road that turn, this order card can then substitute for that effect. And confirm, the grade 3 Gradia Gradel, we have 1 in the deck. And at that, we just about covered the deck's grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's grade 2 lineup. And now for the grade 2 lineup. For the grade 2s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck, grade 2, Marine General of Restless Tides, Algos. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is rode upon by a unit with Aquaforce for its clan, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card with only Aquaforce for its clan or a tier dragon from among them, call it to rear guard and shuffle your deck. Second skill, auto is a rear guard. When this unit attacks, if it is the 4th battle or more this turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Maelstrom in its card name, until end of battle, this unit gets plus 5,000 power, and auto as a rear guard. When this unit attacks, hits a Vanguard, draw a card. So for Algos, it's the main grade 2 to ride in this deck. Its skills, the first skill. When ridden on top of by an Aquaforce card, you have the chance to check the top 7 cards of your deck for an Aquaforce card or a tier dragon to call to your rear guard to serve as a potential front row attacker, bat row booster, or a rear guard whose skill you wish to take advantage of later in the turn. And the second skill, when attacking, when the conditions of its skill are met, not only do you get to turn your Algos into a potential 15,000 point attacker from the front row, but if its attack hits, then you can also draw more cards to restock your hand with. And alrighty, the grade 2, Marine General of Restless Tides, Algos, we have 1 in the Ride Deck. Next, the grade 2, Tidal Assault. Skills, first skill, auto is a rear guard. When this unit attacks, cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost and paid, choose 1 of your Vanguards with Maelstrom in its card name, and it gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. Second skill, auto is a rear guard. At the end of battle this unit attacked, if it is the second battle of this turn, if you have a standing Vanguard with Maelstrom in its card name, cost, Counter Blast 1. If the cost and paid, stand as unit. So for Tidal Assault, a support card for the Maelstrom deck. If it skills the first skill, when attacking, by paying the cost, you can give your Vanguard Maelstrom more power to work with. Second skill, after attacking, when the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can re-stand Tidal Assault to attack again. And okie dokie, the grade 2, Tidal Assault, we have 4 in the deck. Up next, the grade 2, Tide Line Dragon. Skill, action is a rear guard once per turn. If you Persona Road this turn, cost, Soul Blast 1. If the cost and paid, choose 1 of your other units, and that unit and this unit gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. If your Persona Road is active, even if Persona Ride is activated outside of normal ride. So for Tide Line, a pretty good grade 2 to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks of its skill. When the conditions of its skill are met and you pay the cost, you can turn your Tide Line Dragon into a potential 20,000 point attacker, and also give another rear guard a huge boost of power, making it easier to pressure or finish off your opponent with. And affirmative, the grade 2, Tide Line Dragon, we have 3 in the deck. And next, the grade 2, Flow Strike Brave Shooter. Skills, first skill, continuous as a rear guard. This unit gets plus 5,000 power for each Blue Storm Armada in your order zone, active on opponent's turn 2. Second skill, auto from the back row rear guard circle. At the end of battle, your other rear guard in the same column this unit attacked. If you have a Vanguard of Maelstrom in its card name, cost, Counter Blast 1. If the cost and paid, choose 1 of your rear guards and swap that unit with this unit's position. So for Brave Shooter, a support card for the Maelstrom deck, if it skills the first skill, as long as the conditions of the first skill are met, you can give plus 5,000 power to Flow Strike Brave Shooter. And the best part is, this first skill is stackable. For the more Blue Storm Armadas you have in your order zone, the more power you can give to Brave Shooter, making him a very powerful front row attacker to make it easier to pressure or finish off your opponent with. Any second skill from the back row, after a rear guard in the same column as Brave Shooter attacks, by paying the cost, you can swap the positions of your units, giving you more attacks to work with and to make it easier to finish off or pressure your opponent at least. And confirm the grade 2 Flow Strike Brave Shooter. We have 4 in the deck. And at that, we just about covered the deck's grade 2 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's grade 1 lineup. And now for the grade 1 lineup. For the grade 1s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck Grade 1, Tier Knight Theo. Skills for skill auto. When this unit is rolled upon by a unit with only Aqua Force for its clan, search your deck for up to 1 Blue Storm Armada card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, continuous as a rear guard. During your turn, if you have a Vanguard Maelstrom in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So for Theo, the main great one to ride this deck, its skills, the first skill. When you ride an Aqua Force card on top of it, you can search your deck for the set order Blue Star Armada to add to your hand to help in your later game strategy. And the second skill, while the conditions of the second skill are met, your rear guard Theo then can serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker for your front row or 13,000 point booster for the back row. Alrighty, the Great One, Tier Knight Theo, we have 1 in the right deck. Next, the Great One, Prize Trident. Skill auto as a rear guard. When your other unit attacks, if it is the 5th battle of this turn, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, countercharge 1. So for Prize Trident, a pretty good great one to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks with its skill. When the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, not only do you get to build up your soul for later soul blasting, you can also refund your counterblast for later skills. And affirmative, the Great One, Prize Trident, we have 4 in the deck. Next up, the Great One, Plan Prevent Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills for skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards with Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from hand and discard it. So for Plan Prevent, it's a perfect guard for the Stoicheia Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when used to guard with, discarding 1 card from hand, you can block an enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to it alone, which is, when used to guard with, while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Planner Prevent a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. Okie dokie, the Great One, Planner Prevent Dragon, we have 3 in the deck. And next, the Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaris Sanitude. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards with Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, Continuous. You may only have 1 Elementaria Sanitude in the deck. Third skill, Order. If your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Plays with a cost of, discard a card from hand if your Vanguard is grade 3 or less. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Remove this card. So for Elementaria Sanitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when played, discard a card from hand, you can block an enemy attack. But ideally, Elementaris Sanitude works best against opponents who play decks that specialize in having a Vanguard triple drive. Against such opponents, for example, Grade 4s, G units, or Vanguards who have their drive checks increased by skill or card effect, Elementaris Sanitude then can serve as a potential no-cost Perfect Guard. Confirm, the Great One, Elementaris Sanitude, we have 1 in the deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 1 lineup. Next, let's get on to the deck's Grade 0 lineup. And now, for the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s in this deck, we are playing Ride Deck Grade 0, Officer Cadet Eric. Skill, auto. When this unit is rolled upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Eric, the starting unit of this deck, like any other starting unit in the D standard format, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when written on top of, if you're the second to go in the game, you can draw more cards. Alright, the Grade 0, Officer Cadet Eric, we have 1 in the right deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 0 lineup. Next, let's get on to the Trigger lineup. And now, for the Trigger lineup. For the triggers in this deck, we are playing Grade 0, Source Dragon DD Blessings plus Favor over Trigger. Skill, Trigger additional effect. Draw a card, choose one of your units, it gets plus 1 critical until end of turn. All of your front row units gets plus 10,000 power. If your damage zone has the same number of cards as your opponents or more, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So for Bless Favor, an Overtrigger for the Stoicheia Nation. Like any other Overtrigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation, which is, when revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw 1 card. But it also features an ability unique to it alone, which is, when revealed during a drive check on your turn, you get to draw a card, give a critical to one of your units, Give your entire front row, Vanguard and rear included, plus 10,000 power, and if the conditions are met, you can also heal 1 damage, making Blessed Favor more or less a combination of all of the triggers available in the D standard format: draw trigger, critical trigger, front trigger, and heal trigger all in one. Alrighty, the Grade 0, Source Dragon DD Blessings, Blessed Favor, over trigger, we have 1 in the deck. Up next, the Grade 0, Dual Pressure Dragon, critical trigger, we have 3 in the deck. The Grade 0, Aspiring Maiden, Alana, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of battle, this unit boosted, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Alana, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks if it's skill. After boosting attack, regardless if the attack hits or not, as long as you don't mind moving Alana from your rear guard to your soul, not only do you get to build up your soul for later soul blast, but you can also give a remaining attacker in the field, Vanguard or rear guard, a little extra power to work with. And okie dokie, the Grade 0, Aspiring Maiden Alana, critical trigger, we have 4 in the deck. Next, the Grade 0, Serene Maiden Lena, draw trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Lena, a powerful draw trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks of her skill. When used through Guard Whiff, while the conditions of her skill are met, Lena then can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield all on her own. Affirmative, the Grade 0, Serene Maiden Lena, draw trigger, we have 4 in the deck. And then next, the Grade 0, Elegy Pixie, heal trigger, we have 2 in the deck. And then the Grade 0, Narcissus Noble, Needle G, heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if your Vanguard's grade is less than or equal to your opponent's Vanguard grade, this unit gets plus 10,000 shield until end of battle. So for Needle G, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks of its skill. When used to Guard Whiff, while the conditions of the skill are met, Needle G then can serve as a potential 20,000 point shield on her own. Ideally, Needle G is a counter heal best played against your opponents when you're the second to go in the game, or when your opponent plays a deck that specializes in having a higher grade than your Vanguard, for example, Grade 4s or G units. Against such opponents, Needle G can be a powerful defender for you. And confirm, the Grade 0, Narcissus Noble, Needle G, heal trigger, we have 2 in the deck. And with that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. And with that, the deck's been built, Cardfight explained. For the cards in this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 3, Blue Artillery Dragon, Inlet Pulse Dragon. 4 Grade 3, Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom. 3 Grade 3, Storm of Judgment. 1 Grade 3, Gradia Gradel. 4 Grade 2, Tidal Assault. 1 Grade 2, Marine General of Restless Tides, Algos. 3 Grade 2, Tideline Dragon. 4 Grade 2, Flow Strike, Brave Shooter. 3 Grade 1, Planet Prevent Dragon. 1 Grade 1, Elementara Sanitude. 4 Grade 1, Prize Trident. 1 Grade 1, Tier Knight Theo. 1 Grade 0, Officer Cadet Eric, starting unit. And for the triggers in this deck, we are playing 1 Blessed Favor, over trigger. 7 critical triggers. 4 draw triggers. And 4 heal triggers. And okie dokie, deck built, Cardfight explained. Now let's get on to testing out the deck. And here we are, back in the main menu. Going to test out the deck, so going to Fight menu, and to CPU Fight. Selecting the deck I just showcased, the Stoicheia's Blue Storm Dragon Maelstrom D-BT09 deck. And okie dokie, the deck is selected, choosing my opponent. I'm gonna test it out on, let's see, who would be a good opponent to test it out on. I guess for this fight, I'll be up against Megumi Okura, normal difficulty, and click. The battle begins, let's get started. Here we are in the fight, gonna decide who goes first, so rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Paper to rock, I win going first. Drawing our starting hands, I got myself a Brave Shooter, Tight Line, Persona Right, Draw Trigger, and a Judgment. Whoa, this is a really good starting hand. Redraw trigger. Only hold on to normal units and order cards. Redraw. Yes, perfect guard. Great redraw. My turn, draw. I ride from the right deck. Tier Knight Theo. Right deck cost, I am discarding. Let's see. Blue Storm, the Storm of Judgment lets me revive a tier dragon from the drop zone, so I can just afford to discard Tightline to revive it later in the game. Discarding Tightline and ride Theo. End of my turn, my opponent's turn. My opponent rides the Great One, Karis. Starter skill, she draws a card. Main phase, battle phase, Vanguard, 8k. No guard, gonna take it. Drive check. No trigger. Ah, not a perfect guard. That's a really good draw. Ow. Damage check. No trigger. And that's the end of my opponent's turn. My turn. Stand and draw. I ride from the right deck. Marine General of Restless Tides, Algos. Right deck cost, I am discarding the heal trigger, Elegy Pixie, discard, and ride. Algos. Skill of Theo. Search my deck for Blue Storm Armada and add it to hand. No, the Storm of Judgment, sorry about that. Storm of Judgment orders a hand and calling to the rear guard, Flow Strike Brave Shooter, and Prize Trident. Battle phase. Brave Shooter attacks the Vanguard, 10k. The attack goes through. Bang, 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 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger, perfect guard, safe, 1 less card to worry about. Boosted by Trident, Algos attacks the Vanguard, 18k. The attack goes through. Drive check. No trigger. Tidal Assault. Not a bad draw. 1 damage. Bang, bang, bang. Check. Yes, front trigger. She wasted a trigger. Trigger effect wasted and end of their turn. My turn. My turn, their turn. Sorry about that. My opponent rides the Grade 2 Lattice. Skill of Karis. Checking the top card of deck 4. No, a Grade 2 Gavrek. Superior called. That's a really good draw, and she calls to the rear guard, Glunosia. Tough choice. I don't have anything to guard with, so I gotta take the attacks. No guard. Ow! Damage check. Yes! Critical trigger, just what I needed. Giving all effects to Vanguard. Trigger and power increased, and Vanguard, 1 trigger to pass. No guard. Check. Oh, come on, a heal trigger. The attack goes through, and she heals the damage. Ow! Damage check. Draw trigger. I give power to Brave Shooter. Another Storm of Judgment. My opponent cannot attack anymore. End of their turn. My turn. Stand and draw. I ride from the right deck. Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom. Right deck cost, I am discarding. I have 3 copies of Storm of Judgment. I can afford to discard 1 and hold on to 2. Discard and ride Maelstrom. Skill of Algos. Look at the top cards of my deck and Superior Call. No, hold on, sorry. Calling Inlet Pulse Dragon to rear guard. Putting it over here. Call. Switching places. And then I am activating the order card. Storm of Judgment. Skilled Storm of Judgment. Superior Call, a card from the drop zone. Tideline Dragon. Call. Giving power, but nothing happens. And I am going to just call... Let's see. I can discard a card to Superior Call from the soul, or do I just keep my current hand as is? Gonna take a chance and pressure my opponent, so calling Tidal Assault to rear guard, and that ought to do it. Going to the battle phase. Let's see. First, Inlet Pulse, unboosted, attacks Glunosia, 13k. The attack goes through, and bang bang bang, 1 less rear guard to worry about. And then, Brave Shooter skill, Counterblast 1, Counterblast. Switching the positions with Inlet Pulse, and then I call Tidal Assault to attack the rear guard. 10k. Skill of Tidal Assault, Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast, and giving power to Vanguard. The attack goes through. Slash! 1 less rear guard to worry about. Tidal Assault skill, Counterblast 1, Counter Blast, and Restand. Restand and attack again. Title assault. 10k. Not activating skill. The attack goes through. Slash. Damage check. Ah, draw trigger. Come on. So lucky. First damage of the turn. Fine. Boosted by Trident. Vanguard the Vanguard. 26k. Maelstrom skill. Retire rear guard and draw one card. Let me retire, but I'll draw. Yes, Persona Ride. Twin drive, first check. Yes, draw trigger, just what I needed. Draw a card. Power to the rear guard, Brave Shooter. Second check. No trigger, Inlet Pulse, not too bad. 1 damage. And boom! Damage check. No trigger, safe. Now, Brave Shooter to the Vanguard, 25k. Trident skill, into Soul. Countercharge 1. Countercharge. Guarding with heal trigger, attack blocked. And that's it for my attacks. End of my turn. Inlet Pulse's skill, into Soul, and draw. Draw. My opponent rides the grade 3. Sylvan Beast, Magnolia. Skill of Lattice. Checking the cards and Superior Call. No, not another grade 2. Girafina. Getting so lucky. Calling Genozia and Ryoka. Ryoka skill. Retreat, giving 10,000 power to Genozia. And calling another Ryoka. The same skill. Giving more power to Genozia. And calling the front row, Gabrek. That's really rough. 13k from Vanguard. No guard, can I take it? Twin drive, first check. No trigger, safe, and second check. No trigger, safe, so 1 damage. Here it comes. Ow! Damage check first. No trigger. So that's the end of the Vanguard attack. Nope, skill of the Vanguard attack. Giving the back row the ability to attack. That's gonna be rough for me. 35k. Giving power to the front row Gabrek. Skill of Genozia. Sharing power of Gabrek. Nope, sharing power of the front row. That is gonna be rough for me, so I guard with 2 draw triggers. Shield added, that's 33k, and guarding with Price Trident, guard, 38k, attack blocked, and ka-chink, safe. No guard, can I take this attack? Ow! Damage check, critical trigger, nice! I give all effects to the Vanguard, but it's wasted. I can't, it's not really gonna help me in the upcoming attacks, so here comes the final attack. Girafina to Vanguard. Perfect guard. For the perfect guard cost, I am gonna discard Inlet Pulse Dragon, discard. Perfect guard, and ka-chink, safe. That's the end of my opponent's turn. My turn, stand and draw. I Persona Ride, Blue Storm Dragon Maelstrom. Let's do this! Persona Ride, Maelstrom, power up and draw. Not a heal trigger, come on. Then I'm moving Brave Shooter to the back row and setting the set order, Storm of Judgment. Judgment skill. Superior Call from the drop zone. Inlet Pulse Dragon, call. Secondary effect, giving power to Inlet Pulse Dragon. Then skill of Tightline, Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast, giving 10,000 power to itself and a rear guard, giving power to Tidal Assault. That should be enough. On to the battle phase. First, Inlet Pulse attacks the Vanguard, 28k. The attack goes through, and bang bang bang, 1 damage. Damage check. Oh, come on, a front trigger? How is she getting triggers in the first damage of the turn? Brave Shooter skill, Counter Blast 1, and switching places with Inlet Pulse. Tidal Assault attacks the Vanguard. Skill Tidal Assault, Soul Blast 1. Soul Blast, and Power to Vanguard, 28k. The attack goes through, and Slash. Damage check. Oh, come on, seriously? Oh, that's 2 triggers in a row, so lucky. Tidal Assault skill, Counter Blast 1, and Restand. To keep getting... how can it be so lucky? Fine, Tidal Assault attacks the rear guard Gap Break, 30k. Skill again, Soul Blast 1, giving power to Vanguard. The attack goes through, and Slash, 1 less rear guard to worry about. Now the Vanguard to Vanguard, 33k. Skill of Maelstrom. Retire a rear guard and draw a card. Retire the back row Gnosia. I drew a... critical, come on! Why do my triggers leave this manner? Twin Drive, first check. No trigger, Inlet Pulse, come on, second check. Over trigger, yes! All effects to Vanguard. 400 million power and 2 criticals. Power to the front row and the healing 1 point of damage. Healing. The attack shatters the guard and boom! 2 damage. First. No trigger. 6 damage. I win. That was really nerve-wracking at the end there. Despite some really good luck from my opponent's side, the triggers, and some bad luck from me, I still managed to use the cards in this deck pretty well and score a win. So, got win, attack 100,000 more power, attack 5 more times in 1 turn, perfect guarded, drew an over trigger, did a persona right, 6 turns passed, did a superior call, retired 5 more opposing units, and drew 3 more times in 1 turn. I got 3100 VP, total 278,275 VP. Pressing A to go next, leaving the fight and returning to fight menu. Back in the fight menu, leaving fight menu, going back to the main menu, now to edit that menu. With that, deck built, Cardfight explained, and I just finished testing the deck out in front of you. So first I want to say is, thank you to the viewers for watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also will show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that I say, goodbye, and see you all soon!